Hey there! Welcome back to our Random History channel, where we make history fun, entertaining and easy to understand. Today, we're hopping into our time machine to visit King Henry VIII, a king famous for his many wives and big changes he made in England. So, fasten your seatbelts, we're zooming back to the 16th century. Henry VIII was born on June 28, 1491, in a palace in London. He was the second son of King Henry VII and Queen Elizabeth of York. From a young age, he was learning all sorts of cool stuff like languages, music, and theology. Little did he know, his life was going to be like a fun ride full of power, love, and betrayal. In 1502, Henry's older brother, Arthur, died. Suddenly, Henry was the next in line to be king. Good relations with Spain, Henry's dad arranged for him to marry Arthur's widow, Katherine of Aragon, who was the daughter of King Ferdinand of Spain. Having King Ferdinand as an ally against the French was extremely useful for England at the time. Katherine used to be the wife of Arthur, but she became a widow few months after their wedding. The marriage of Henry VIII and Katherine, which officially started in 1509 when Henry became king, was the start of a wild chapter in English history. Despite their love and shared interests, Henry and Katherine faced some tough times. They lost several children when they were babies, and their only surviving child, Mary, became a problem because they didn't have a son. As years passed without a son, Henry became more and more desperate. By the early 1520s, Henry was super desperate for a son. His marriage to Katherine had only given him a daughter, Mary. This made him question if his marriage was even valid, as the Bible said marrying a brother's widow was a no-no. But the Pope, who was influenced by Katherine's nephew, Charles V of Spain, said no to Henry's request for an annulment. But Henry wasn't going to take no for an answer. He made a bold move that changed English history forever. He declared himself the head of the Church of England, breaking away from the Pope and the Catholic Church. This was the start of the English Reformation. Around this time, a new lady entered Henry's life, Anne Boleyn. Young, glamorous, and captivating, Anne was everything Katherine was not. Henry, head over heels and desperate for a son, began to think about divorcing Katherine to marry Anne. In 1533, Henry did just that. He divorced Katherine and married Anne Boleyn, who was now expecting a baby. This act not only defied the Pope but also set a stage for royal supremacy in religious matters in England. Anne Boleyn, a captivating figure in British history, finally married Henry in January 1533. Their marriage started with passion and ambition, but ended in heartbreak and scandal. Anne Boleyn, a woman of charm and intelligence, won the heart of King Henry VIII, only to lose it when she failed to bear a male heir. Henry VIII accused her of adultery and treason. Anne's life was tragically cut short in 1536 and was executed at the Tower of London after only 3 years of marriage, leaving Henry emotionally scarred and politically isolated. Jane Seymour, Henry's third wife, married him 11 days after Anne Boleyn's execution. She gave birth to the long-awaited son, Edward, but tragically died 2 weeks after giving birth. Henry was heartbroken once again but still happy to finally have a son. Anne of Cleves was Henry's fourth wife, chosen from her portrait. However, Henry was disappointed by Anne's looks when he finally saw her. Needless to say, their marriage was short-lived. Despite the failed marriage, Henry VIII treated Anne kindly and he even invited her to court events. Katherine Howard, the fifth wife of Henry VIII, was probably just a teenager when he chose her to be his queen. Despite the king calling Katherine his rose without a thorn, it soon became clear that she had a scandalous past and present. Katherine was found guilty of adultery and executed at the Tower of London in 1542. Katherine Parr, the sixth and final wife of Henry VIII, outlived the king. She was a kind and caring stepmother to Henry's 3 children and was instrumental in reconciling Henry with his daughters, Mary and Elizabeth. After Henry's death, she remarried, but died shortly after giving birth to a daughter. Henry VIII really wanted a son to be king after him. It wasn't just something he wanted for himself, it was also important for the country. When the Pope said no to his request to end his marriage to Catherine, Henry decided to do something big. In 1534, he made a new law, the Act of Supremacy. This law said that Henry, not the Pope, was the most important leader of the Church of England. This changed a lot of things and started the English Reformation, where England stopped being part of the Roman Catholic Church. After breaking away from the Pope, Henry did more things. He closed down monasteries, which were like special religious places. This happened between 1536 and 1541, and it meant taking their things and giving their land to the king. Henry did this because it helped him get more money and made him as the king more powerful. Henry's marriages resulted in 3 children who survived infancy: Mary, Elizabeth, and Edward. Edward VI succeeded Henry VIII, but his reign was brief, and he died young. Mary I, known for her persecution of Protestants, followed Edward. Mary I was so mean and ruthless that people called her the Bloody Mary. When Mary I died, Elizabeth I became the Queen. She was one of England's greatest monarchs, and she presided over a golden age, solidifying the Tudor dynasty's enduring influence that Henry VIII so desperately wanted. And there you have it, folks. The dark and dramatic saga of King Henry VIII. If you enjoyed this historical rollercoaster, give it a thumbs up and share it with your fellow history buffs. Don't forget to comment with your favorite Tudor scandal. Check out our other video about historical figures and event. Until next time, stay curious.